Hi again then guys, and welcome to another installment of the Automotive News Roundup, and this is actually the first news piece that I've covered pertaining to the coronavirus and some of its effects on the automotive world, and in particular, the racing world this time, because it is affecting Formula One in a very major way, in fact a number of major ways, and also tangentially affecting Ferrari now as well, because for those who don't know, there have been over 2,000 cases of the coronavirus confirmed in Italy so far. That's just at the time of releasing this video, and over 50 people have died so far. Plus, the epicenter of the Italian outbreak is only 70 miles away from Ferrari's HQ. They've already cancelled factory tours, which is understandable. They've cancelled most of their business trips as well, and incidentally, if you want to read even more into this, you can check out the article on Forbes. Now, the way in which it's affecting Formula One is much more financial than it is for Ferrari. For Ferrari's end of things, it's more of a competitive disadvantage in terms of the race itself, because in Vietnam, the tourist board has actually implemented a mandatory 14-day quarantine for all travellers coming from Italy, which is fair enough, of course. For Ferrari, though, that's a big deal, because that's not affecting many of the other teams at all. Now, there is one other team in F1 coming from Italy as well, but of course Ferrari tends to be the one that gets most of the attention. And of course, a 14-day quarantine is going to be a major setback for them when it comes to not just competing in the event, but even setting up for the event. Now, in terms of how this is affecting Formula One, it's actually having a pretty huge effect on them, because their stock, for instance, has already dropped. In the past month, their shares are worth 21% less than they were, down to $38 a share. So you could potentially argue it's a good time to invest in Formula One, because it'll probably bounce back, but rather you than me. And in terms of the losses that they're going to be taking, well, of course, they already cancelled one event in, I believe, Shanghai. And as far as the future of the series, they have a lot of existing ties and responsibilities to uphold. Stuff like broadcasting, VIP tickets, paddock tickets, all these kind of things that have already been sold, already been booked, sponsorships that have already been agreed that may potentially not be fulfilled by Formula One. And although some of those things will be covered under the insurance clause of an act of God, some things won't. And a lot of those sponsors, for instance, probably won't take it that way. They will want some money back, they'll want, to pay less for sponsorship, so it's going to have a very significant knock-on effect for Formula One. Now, whether or not it will cause a restructuring of all of the events this year, we'll have to wait and see. For the moment, I believe it's still relatively early in this process of actually threatening the series, apart from the Shanghai cancellation, but it will be an interesting thing to watch for those who are interested in Formula One. For me, myself, I'm not. I've said that before. But the human lives at risk, of course, are always the most important thing. And for many of these people, it's not just a sport, it's their livelihood, and that is also a hugely important thing to lose as well, or at least to be affected in a major way. So overall, give me your thoughts down below. Is Formula One something that you do watch? How do you think this will affect it in the future? Of course, many predictions are open to interpretation at this point. There's a number of things that could happen, and of course, stick around on the channel for more automotive news in general. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.